Why, hello everybody. My name is Chris and I'm a software developer for Acustica Audio. Today our magic word is going to be bass. So we're going to be speaking about a suite that comprises two amazing products which have been the result of a very intense collaboration between us and Studio DMI in Las Vegas. Everything started when a couple of years ago our CEOs basically went to Las Vegas and actually speaking with Mr. Luca Pretolesi, they wanted to reproduce his chain mainly for one specific reason. Hardware has a unique and distinct characteristic, and we all know about that. But also what happens is that there's a practical need. Speaking about total recall, when you have to move all the knobs and stuff. And this is something that it's kind of hard to maintain with your hardware. So this sparkled the creation of these two new plugins and a whole new world of bass and even more bass. So I'm going to just in a minute play a couple of tracks, which you're going to hear, and I will do a demonstration with a dry track, and then I'm going to play a track that went through the hardware chain, the original hardware chain, first with the first element, which is a compounder. Just to make it short, compounders are pretty easy. You all know what a compressor is. Maybe an expander. It just works like a compressor, but the other way around. So you always have a threshold, and what happens is that sound is not compressed, but it's expanded. And when you combine these two elements, you have a compressor and an expander working in tandem together. So you have a compounder. What happens is that you have a threshold, and what happens above this is expanded, and below of this is compressed. So your sound becomes elastic. And this, for bass, is amazing. You got to hear this thing. So just a second, I'm going to play a couple of tones here, and we have our dry sample. You can see it on the screen right now, and I'm going to put this one in solo. It's already in solo, and you can hear it right now. Just hear it. So you could hear already all the range. Sound is pretty cool. And now we're going to first go here. There you go. Can you feel that? Can you feel that we have a little bit more bass? And this sounds pretty amazing. But the true magic is when you combine the dynamic equalizer and the compounder together, which is right here. Hey, by the way, we're still talking about the original hardware. This is sound that's been recorded out of the hardware, okay? Physical stuff. There you go. And this is awesome because you can actually see and listen to the higher ranges, which are emphasized by the dynamic equalizer. And that is amazing because the expander, the compounder, basically pumps up all the bass. And then you have the dynamic equalizer who fixes everything up pretty much. So what I'm going to do just now is play you, there you go, this one in solo. And you're going to hear what our plugins actually do. And you're also going to have to look at them, which are pretty cool, by the way. Here they are. And this is our first one. And there we go. Here's our compounder. Basically, all you should care about is this transition level. It's pretty much what the most important part of this entire plugin. And it's also pretty much the only thing you're supposed to use. Actually, you're not supposed to use anything. Let me just explain a couple of things about the presets of this plugin. It just comes out of the box with the settings of Luca Pretolesi. This is very important to understand because it reproduces the hardware settings. As I said before, we had trouble with the original hardware doing recall and stuff like that. So what we did was reproduce the actual hardware and the settings that come with it under the form of a preset on this plugin. So you don't have to touch anything. Over here, we're going to play our first track right here, going on. There you go. Without. Just hear the bass. Hear the bass when I fire this bad boy on. There you go. Can you feel that? It's amazing. And guess what happens next when I press this one? You have all the high range just pumping up. It's amazing. This is just pretty much amazing. I love this. Okay, so a little bit of history around here. We already said that these plugins were born a couple of years ago because our CEOs went to Las Vegas with Luca, and they decided to sample this beautiful and amazing hardware. But it's actually a pretty funny story. What happened with the dynamic equalizer? It's actually a machine that was inside Studio DMI, and it was mailed to us over here, so we could do some extra sampling, so we could understand even better how the machine was working, and we could align the way we make our own plugins with how the actual hardware is. We had to see some stuff. We just basically had to deal with the machine physically. And the funny thing about it is that we're in Italy. We're here in Italy, and we have customs. So if something arrives from the USA, it just might get stuck in customs, and this is what happened precisely with this machine. So just imagine Luca, who is very close to his machinery, and he actually gave us this, and we didn't know what to do. We couldn't work with it anymore, and we had to wait several months for customs just to sort everything out, and this has been a terrible nightmare. Customs are not cool. We should all be united. Peace. But I know that's pretty hard right now. So going back to the sound, I'm going to tweak the only thing that's worth tweaking. So let's just go back. So going back to our plugin here, we're going to fire this bad boy up. Remember when I said that transition is the only thing you got to touch? Well, just listen to bass. Just listen to what happens to bass. Can you feel that? It's amazing. It's pretty much the whole sound that's just being expanded. You have more bass, and you have like this amazing makeup for the highest frequencies. It's just great. This is just great. You can actually fiddle with all the other things. You even have a fine-tune button, which adds more stuff. You can check out all the rest of the stuff in our manual. We have each single control being and there's an explanation for each single control. But we don't really need that stuff. I shouldn't make myself really clear about this. It's so just perfectly fine-tuned with actual hardware that you can hear on several important tracks. Stuff that might even reach 2 billion views on YouTube. Speaking about that kind of range, and so bass part is pretty much covered up. And well, the other bad boy that comes with this guy is the dynamic equalizer, which is this guy over here. I'm just going to leave it like it is, because it pretty much works like the one that we just saw before. You don't really have to change anything. It just works. You can change it. You can fine-tune it. Even here, you have a fine-tune button. If you press this button, you're going to see some magic happening. And I'm not going to do it now. Haha. And so let's at least see a couple of lights. They're working together. So I just take them off. And this is how the track is originally. Fire it up. Fire it up. It's beautiful. I love this thing. I actually love how this thing is working. And you can just work with this transition thing over here, and it will just change everything for you. See? We're like going back to normal. It wasn't supposed to be called transition, but this thing should have been like awesomeness, and you just move it up, and you have your bass. Oh man, I love this. Oh, this is so great. This is an amazing tool. So This is actually an amazing tool. I wasn't kidding. It is something very rare. You can hardly find something like this as a software that works out of the box, actually. The cool thing about sampling actual hardware and configuring it to what sounds awesome out there, it just makes it so simple to use. You just plug it in, and that's it. That's pretty much it. You want to change the way it behaves, just move that transition. It's been all worked out to function with that transition thing just being moved. But yet, if you want to fine tune, it's right there, so you can use it. Once again, I'm Chris from Acustica Audio, and it's been a pleasure being with you. Peace.